There's a tree growing right now somewhere in America that the USDA doesn't want you to know about. It produces peaches in June, apricots in July, 4 different types of plums in August, nectarines in September, all from the same trunk, the same root system, the same tree. It sounds impossible. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real, and it represents the single greatest threat to the grocery store model that's been bleeding your family dry for decades. The supermarket wants you to believe food comes from warehouses, not from your backyard. They've spent billions convincing you that growing food is hard, that it takes farmland, that you need their weekly supply chain to survive. This one tree destroys that entire lie. I'm about to show you the Cambium Secret, an ancient grafting technique that lets one single tree provide a continuous, multi-month harvest of 40 different fruits for your entire family. And I'm going to show you why this technology was deliberately buried by industrial agriculture. But first, you need to understand what was stolen from you. Let's dive in. 100 years ago, America had over 15,000 unique fruit varieties. We had apples that tasted like roses, plums that tasted like honey, cherries that could survive minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit winters and still produce massive crops. Today, you walk into a grocery store and you see maybe 5 apple varieties, 3 types of plums, 2 kinds of cherries if you're lucky. What happened to the other 14,995 varieties? They were erased, systematically, deliberately, and not because they tasted bad. They were erased because they didn't fit in shipping crates. Let that sink in. Thousands of superior fruit varieties, bred over centuries by farmers who actually cared about flavor, nutrition, and resilience, were eliminated because they couldn't survive being shipped 2,000 miles in a truck. Industrial agriculture made a choice: profit over quality, shelf life over taste, uniformity over diversity. The result? The watery, flavorless peaches you buy today that taste like cardboard, the plums that never ripen properly, the cherries that cost $8 a pound and go bad in 2 days. You've been eating second-rate fruit your entire life, and you didn't even know there was a better option. The knowledge, the technique, the ability to graft these lost varieties onto a single tree and grow your own orchard in a 15-foot space. And that's exactly what one man figured out, almost by accident. His name is Sam Van Aken. He's not a farmer. He's not from some agricultural dynasty. He's an artist and a professor at Syracuse University. In 2008, he heard that a 200-year-old orchard in upstate New York was about to be bulldozed. This orchard contained varieties of stone fruits that hadn't been seen in commercial cultivation for over a century. He bought the entire orchard to save it. But here's the problem: he didn't have the land to replant 250 different fruit trees. So he did something brilliant, something ancient farmers knew, but modern agriculture forgot. He grafted them, all of them, onto single trees. The process: he took cuttings, called scion wood, from dozens of heritage plum, peach, apricot, nectarine, and cherry trees. Then, using an ancient technique documented in Roman agricultural manuals from 2,000 years ago, he fused them onto a single rootstock. The result: a tree that blooms in an explosion of pink and white flowers in spring, each branch a different variety, and produces 40 different types of stone fruit from the same trunk throughout the summer and fall. He called it the Tree of 40 Fruits. And when he started showing these trees in art galleries, something unexpected happened. People didn't see art, they saw freedom. They saw independence from the grocery store. Van Aken proved what industrial agriculture tried to erase, any dedicated gardener can reclaim. And now, I'm going to show you exactly how. The Cambium Secret. Here's what they don't teach you in school and what the agricultural industry hopes you never learn. Every tree has a thin layer of living cells just beneath the bark called the cambium layer. Here is where all growth happens, where water and nutrients flow, where the tree creates new wood and bark. Here's the magic: If you cut into two different trees and press their cambium layers together, they fuse, they become one tree. This means you can take a branch from a 100-year-old heritage apricot tree that produces the most incredible fruit you've ever tasted and graft it onto a young rootstock in your backyard. That branch will produce the exact same fruit as the original tree, and you can do this 40 times on a single tree. The process is simple. In late winter, you collect scion wood, dormant branches from fruit trees you want to propagate. You make precise cuts that expose the cambium layer on both the scion and the rootstock. You bind them together with grafting tape. You wait. Within weeks, the cambium layers fuse. Within months, that branch is growing. Within 2 to 3 years, it's producing fruit. The choreography. Here's where it gets brilliant. You don't just graft random varieties, you strategically choose varieties that ripen at different times. Example timeline. Early June, early apricots, varieties like Goldcott. June, early peaches, varieties like Red Heaven. July, mid-season apricots and nectarines. August, 4 different plum varieties ripening sequentially. September, late-season peaches in Italian plums.
What this means? Instead of having 200 peaches ripen in 1 week, forcing you to frantically can, freeze, or watch them rot, you have a continuous, manageable harvest from June through September. One tree replacing an entire produce aisle. The independence payoff. Let's talk about the real numbers. A mature tree of 40 fruits can produce 250 to 400 pounds of fruit annually. Stone fruit at the grocery store, $3 to $5 per pound for mediocre, commercially bred varieties. Your tree, 300 pounds of heirloom, organic, peak ripeness fruit, varieties that haven't been commercially available for 100 years. At grocery store prices, that's $900 to $1,500 worth of fruit per year. Over 50 years, the productive lifespan of a well-maintained fruit tree, that's $45,000 to $75,000 in saved grocery costs from one tree in a 15-foot space. But it's not just about money. It's about flavor. It's about nutrition. It's about knowing exactly what you're eating because you grew it yourself. It's about having fruit that tastes like fruit is supposed to taste before industrial agriculture stripped it of flavor to maximize shipping efficiency. It's about independence. The bigger picture. Right now, you're dependent on a supply chain that's fragile, expensive, and designed to extract maximum profit from your weekly grocery trips. One bad harvest in California, one fuel shortage, one distribution problem, and grocery store prices spike 30 to 40% overnight. You've seen it happen. Your tree doesn't care about supply chains. It grows, it produces, it feeds your family every single year, for decades. The choice. You can keep renting your food from corporations that care more about your shareholders than your house. Or you can plant one tree, invest 1 weekend of your time learning a 2,000-year-old technique, and declare independence from the system that's been robbing you blind. How to actually do this? Option 1. Buy a pre-grafted tree. Van Aken and other specialized nurseries now sell multi-grafted trees. They're expensive, $300 to $600, but you're buying years of skilled grafting work. Option 2. Graft your own. What you need: one healthy rootstock tree, available at any nursery for $25 to $40. Scion wood from varieties you want, often free from local orchards, fruit tree enthusiasts, or scion exchanges. Grafting knife, $15 to $30. Grafting tape, $10. Grafting sealant, $8. Total investment, $50 to $100 to create your own multi-variety tree. The learning curve. Your first few grafts might fail, that's normal, but each successful graft teaches you the technique, and within 2 to 3 years, you'll have a tree producing multiple varieties. The resources. There are grafting workshops, online tutorials, local fruit tree societies, and scion exchanges where experienced grafters share knowledge and plant material freely. This isn't proprietary corporate knowledge, this is heritage knowledge that belongs to all of us. Regional considerations. Zones 5 to 8, ideal for stone fruit multigrafting. Apples and pears and stone fruits all work. Zones 4 to 5, focus on cold hardy varieties. Apples and pears are easier than stone fruits. Zones 9 to 10, stone fruits need chill hours. Research low chill varieties or focus on citrus multigrafting. The timeline. Year 1, plant rootstock or purchase pre-grafted tree. Year 2 to 3, first light harvests from grafted varieties. Year 4 to 5, significant production begins. Year 7 plus, full abundant production for decades. The maintenance. Multi-grafted trees require more pruning attention than single variety trees. You're managing multiple growth rates and vigor levels, but the payoff, continuous diverse fruit from one small space, is worth the extra 2 to 3 hours of annual pruning. The Declaration of Independence. The grocery store model is less than 100 years old. For thousands of years before that, people grew food, communities shared varieties, knowledge was passed down. Then corporations convinced us we were too busy, too unskilled, too dependent to grow our own food. They were lying. The tree of 40 fruits proves it. One tree, one small space, one ancient technique, and you've reclaimed a piece of your independence. You're not just growing fruit, you're preserving varieties that industrial agriculture tried to erase. You're teaching your children that food doesn't come from stores, it comes from soil, sun, and knowledge. You're opting out of a system designed to keep you dependent. This is bigger than gardening. This is resistance. Every heritage variety you graft is a variety saved from extinction. Every fruit you harvest is one less purchase from a system that doesn't care about you. Every year your tree produces is another year of independence. The corporations won't tell you this. They can't. Their entire business model depends on you believing you need them. One tree, growing 40 varieties of fruit that taste the way fruit is supposed to taste, destroys that narrative completely. You are not a customer. You're a creator, you're a gardener, you're someone reclaiming ancient knowledge and building resilience for your family. The grocery store wants to rent you food forever. Your tree gives it to you for free for generations. The choice is yours. The tree of 40 fruits isn't just a tree, it's a statement. It's proof that what they tried to erase, we can bring back. It's a living demonstration that you don't need their system. Plant one tree, learn one ancient technique, reclaim one piece of your independence. If this opened your eyes to what's possible, do me a favor, comment independence below. I want to see how many of us are ready to opt out of the grocery store system. And if you want a free grafting compatibility guide showing exactly which fruit varieties can be grafted together and the best varieties for your growing zone, subscribe and hit that bell icon. I'll send it to you directly. Thank you for watching. Here's to trees that produce for generations and knowledge that can't be erased. Now go plant something that makes corporations nervous. I'll see you in the next video.